Okay, we're ready to call the meeting to order. It's 4 o'clock. Jan, can you take roll call, please?
Kathy Kuzma. Here. Jeff Pearson.
Here.
Bob Osterberger. No.
Okay, you're okay.
Tom Osterberger.
Somebody has that last name, that's me.
And Jane Condon.
Here.
Donnie Chestnut.
Here.
Joe Carlosari.
Here.
Bob Filato.
Here.
Pat Mudry.
Here.
All present, accounted for? Okay. Approval of the April 26th regular meeting minutes. Everyone had a chance to review them? Any questions or comments?
To approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public comments with regards to the agenda items. Any public comments regarding the agenda items? Hearing none, we'll move on to the financial reports. Operational bills paid and payable. Okay, so we received a payable listing and a bills paid listing. Where's the bills paid listing? Bills to be paid. So I'm assuming everyone had a chance to review that. Is there any questions or comments regarding the bills, operational bills paid? Anyone? If not, the age payable listing, I think a number of us have questions on the payable listing. And I think perhaps some of this is a dating issue, if you will. I spoke to Dale a few minutes before the meeting, and if I understand this system correctly, Dale tells me that some of these are due quarterly, even though we put in an earlier date. So I've asked him to rectify that if he can. I don't know this system that you're using. I do know QuickBooks, and I do know we can do that in QuickBooks. So you can put today's date in, and if it's payable in 90 days, you can put it out in 90 days. Really simple. I just don't know how simple your system is. But beyond that, you know, there are some payables on here that and I'm gonna, Dale, you and I spoke about this, the Commonwealth Edison invoices. And I just don't understand, unless it's a cash flow issue, and when I speak to some other people, it doesn't seem to be that issue, it shouldn't be that issue, why we have a Commonwealth Edison bill that's dated March 31 for $11,000 that has not been paid. Now, part of Dale's response to me was, we have another 30 days to pay that. And if that's true, then we could say, okay, it's due April 30th. But we sit here today, and you told me it's not paid.
Correct.
And I don't, and this is a very frustrating situation for me.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we have the cash. I don't believe that we can ill afford to have this message get out into the marketplace or the public again that we're not paying bills. So, Dale, I guess we need to clean this up and clean it up today, tomorrow, literally, if we can. And whatever roadblocks you're having, let's work together and get this resolved.
That would be great. I know the foundation board has met and they have chosen to do a majority of their fundraising to help pay their Cypre loan off. So some of the monies a majority of the monies, from my understanding, are not necessarily going to be able to flow through to the authority as they have been in the past. So that's put a little challenge to us going forward. I do understand recently that that's all going to be reviewed shortly. So whatever comes out from that. And we have also been under the practice since last fall of segregating and holding back box office proceeds from entering into day-to-day operations until after a performance is over. So box office revenues that we had generated through ticket sales, advanced ticket sales, we've been not dipping into that in order to pay, today's bills.
I guess there's a disconnect here, and maybe we're not gonna resolve it at this meeting.
Probably not.
But you and Val and John, where's John? John, need to sit down and put your heads together and resolve this. That's all that has to happen, and it's gotta happen tomorrow.
Is that, can I have a question?
Yeah.
Question is, to hold back those revenues, why is that? Is that in case of a cancellation?
No, it's not because of the cancellation, it's just a business practice that we've been trying to follow since September coming into play.
Is that common with the industry? Is that an industry standard or anything like that?
Well, I believe that's coming from new management policy, where we're not to dip into ticket sales, to pay day-to-day bills until after performances have been over.
John?
Thank you, Bob. Ticket sales are generally held in escrow as they are not public, they are not our money. It's public money until the event happens. There are rare occasions where if there's, with certain promoters, the right situation, you might dip into that to pay a deposit for an upcoming event, but that's very, very rare. Typically, their money's held in escrow because it is public money. And in the event of a cancellation, you have to have that money. And that's when we came in early October, mid-October, and we found out that we were dipping into revenues that really were not Rialto Theater's revenues to dip into. We literally put a stop to that at that point, because at that point we were, if my memory reflects right, $50,000 or $60,000 into the hole of future shows where we had spent that money without those shows happening. Now, if indeed you're dealing with a promoter, that's one more layer in there that really says it's not our money, it's really his money or her money, and it is standard operating procedure. And I would have to check, but I believe I saw an email in the early part of May stating that, and I'd have to detail the account. We hold 3 different accounts. I don't know which one is the box office account, but in total, there was still $176,000 in there on May 2nd or 3rd. Now, I know for a fact that we don't have enough shows on sale to generate that kind of money, and that was over 3 accounts, one roughly of 102,000, one of 30-something thousand, and one 40. So there is, I believe there to be money, yes. Not outside of the box office escrow account. We should be paying bills.
Okay, so back to my comment. Can the 3 of you
Yes.
address this sooner than later? And I don't write an email or something to the board and let them know there's. Does anyone else have a?
No, that clarifies a lot for me, thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fine.
Mr. Chairman, I have a separate question from Mr. Sullivan. Is it your opinion that we can vote to pay the bills payable without the interim budget in place, which is required by the venue contract?
Well, I think we should move to get that budget in place quickly, but I took a quick look at the state law today, and it appears that the obstacle for, payment is just that we have the monies available and on hand. So we certainly should get that taken care of in terms of getting the budget in place is a best practice. I don't think we should hold up paying our vendors because we don't have that.
Okay, Joe?
Just a quick question. It probably shouldn't bear on this payroll, the accounts payable, but payroll taxes, we know there was a problem in the past. We don't see that being a problem now. Everything is caught
Oh,
up.
yeah.
That's all handled through the Oregon payroll system, HR system.
Okay.
That Venue Works is a part of. So we pay payroll taxes as well as unemployment taxes, Social Security and Medicare taxes, and state withholding and federal withholding, all with whatever goes out
So
to
I guess
cover that whole entire
We,
payroll.
the authority, don't have that responsibility any longer. That's.
Right.
that falls on
That's our
us.
responsibility. It is an automatic situation through REI.
Good.
They draw it as they draw everybody's paycheck and
Yeah.
do the electronic transfer of paychecks. There's
But the real
electronic
answer to that
transfer
question,
paying
if someone asks,
taxes,
is
et
we don't
cetera.
have any employees.
No, okay. No, it was at your.
I just saw this at the table. And I don't know if John saw this or not.
I'll share with him.
Okay,
Bob, did we get the comp issue we raised last time on the payables cleared up?
the comp issue.
Whether,
The
Oh,
insurance.
you were gonna speak with John about that.
Yes, and the three of us spoke,
And has that been clarified?
yes, it was clarified, and it would be over, I believe, the last check went out to everybody
Well, it was
this
over
month.
March 31st.
Of March 31st.
So it's not an issue
It's not an
anymore?
issue. It was not an issue.
It was not an
It
issue.
appeared to be,
Just
but
a
it was
question.
not. Yes.
Just a question. Okay. Any further discussion on bills paid or payables before I ask for a motion?
It's nothing to do with bills paid, but I just wondered, because we know in December we have that one lump payment to the foundation due. Are we setting aside funds so we'll have that, or is it something we just hope that it'll be there?
Well, we still have $75,000 of their money, so to speak.
Okay.
And I know that David has sent some correspondence to the energy company with regards to that $56,000 penalty. So I certainly think we're gonna keep that in arrears.
Okay.
So the answer is yes.
Okay.
The foundation is well aware of that too, though. That's high on their priority list, to raise at least the minimum of $50,000 to assist us. They'll give it to us when we get that, so to speak. Anything else on the page, bills to pay or payables before we move on? Hearing none, I suppose you want to take a roll call, right, David?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to. Do we have a motion?
Do you have a motion?
No, we need a motion in a
I'll
second.
make the motion.
In a second.
Kathy Kuzma? Aye. Tom Osterberger?
Aye.
Jane Conley?
Aye.
Joe Carlosari?
Aye.
Donnie Chestnut?
Aye.
Jeff Pearson?
Aye.
Bob Pilato?
Aye. Next on the agenda is financial statements, and as I understand it, we're in the throes of converting right now to
Right.
QuickBooks.
We're going to QuickBooks, and that conversion is all but done. I can't say 85, 90% done, but we're right there, should be able to have that
And
conversion.
we should be
Completed
fully
very
utilizing QuickBooks by our new fiscal year, July 1.
Absolutely.
Beyond that, I don't think we have any financial statements to
Correct.
present today.
So does it look like financial statements would be more like July 1 or possibly next meeting? Where we might go.
We should be able to, next meeting is 2 weeks? Or is it a month?
Yes.
A
Our
month?
next regular meeting is a month
A
away.
month. There should be some kind of financial statement by then. We should be able to run something. We're up and running with QuickBooks, and I do apologize, but at the same time as we came in and we started implementing QuickBooks, the
Server with it.
server crashed, and as of Monday, we were still driving that server fix. So I think we're very close to that. But in the interim, we've been running QuickBooks offline, so it should be a pretty quick catch-up here. And I will verify that and let Bob know tomorrow.
Is there any estimate as to when the budget might be prepared, starting July 1?
Actually, the budget for the fiscal year 18 is virtually done. Just waiting for Val and I to have a meeting with Dale, and we had hoped to do that today. We didn't get to it today. Spent a little more time with our engineers and our good stagehands today than we anticipated. So by the time I leave here on Friday, that information, the final information, will funnel back to the New York corporate, and it should be pretty quick after that.
So we can expect to see that several weeks before our next meeting?
I would anticipate, yes, probably ideally by, my thinking is by the end of next week at the
With
latest.
the intent of approving it at the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So that raises the question of the interim. I mean, I don't know how the board feels, if they're comfortable approving this interim budget when we've literally just seen it. I assume you took the budget that you prepared for the city in your presentation and divided by 4.
In round numbers, yes, there were some adjustments to that.
That's what it looked like to me.
Right.
And of course, that budget showed a loss. But what's more critical in my mind is the conversion of that statement to a cash flow statement,
Right.
where we have, you know, what I'm gonna call free cash, not obligated,
Not
box
restricted
office
cash,
kind
right.
of stuff.
Yeah, no,
Starting
right.
cash, revenues, subsidy, expenses, what our free cash
And
flow is.
if I had in my mind which of those accounts was which, I could tell you where that was on May 2nd, but I don't have an update since then.
Right. So, I guess if the board's comfortable and wants to approve this interim budget, then so be it.
We don't have that on the agenda.
No, I mean, at the next meeting,
Oh, okay, okay.
or whenever we do meeting, if we do meeting. But I mean, it's kind of, so at the next meeting, we would approve an interim budget for the period ended June 30th,
And potentially
and a new budget for the next year.
But that's all because of the transitional period.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
everybody, I think it needs to be said, we've only been at this for 6 weeks. And a lot has been accomplished, and we're putting a lot of, I'm speaking for myself and maybe a few other board members, we are putting a lot of pressure on Venue Works and the staff, but it's something that we need to get it right, you know, from the start. So, thank you for all the time and effort that you put into this.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the
Thank you, Val.
financial statement, line items before we move on? No old business, new business. One of the board members shared some concerns she had with me about this new tenant lease, so I would ask that we table this until next meeting.
I'll make a motion.
In a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? I suppose this has to be done under, even though it's not on the agenda.
But we can always schedule a special meeting.
Well, we're gonna do that. Okay, executive reports, right? What? What did I do?
We were saying we can discuss it, we just can't make a decision.
It's not even on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda, we can't discuss it.
We can discuss, you can't take any final action. I mean,
Well, we can discuss.
it's your question whether it's you want to discuss things that aren't on the agenda or not. Legally, you can, you just can't take final action.
So what's the,
So it's under new business now?
so what's the board wanna do here?
I'm sorry.
We wanna discuss the proposal for the property management.
I would suggest that we schedule a special meeting to do it all at once, so we can discuss it.
Okay.
Is that all right with the rest of the board?
Sorry, John.
Apologies.
Okay, exec reports, foundation report. Who's, is that Chad, or is that you, Chad?
The foundation board did not meet last month, we meet every month, other month, so they'll be meeting in June. However, the fundraising committee of that board has been meeting and going to, and are making their plans for the new Orleans North downtown event that's going to be happening on Friday, June 9th. So, as you recall, last month I mentioned that there'll be a bar set up outside of the theater, and they'll have a specialty drink and some other beverages available, as well as they'll be doing some tours of the theater. So, hope everyone can participate. And they did come up with an event sponsor, so Jack has secured that. Wonderful.
So all our costs for this, the bar we're gonna have as part of New Orleans North and the chamber are covered.
Are you free to share who that is, or is it private?
Attorney Blake Stone.
Oh.
He's very interested. I met with him a few
Yeah, I met
times.
him at whatever last event I was
He
here.
was at Val's
Oh,
lunch.
at luncheon.
Yeah, we've met a couple times, and he's very interested in being
Yeah.
involved with the Rialto beyond this as well.
Yeah, nice young man.
Very nice.
Yeah. Jane, you had some, what was that issue you talked to me about, the question of the fee, the preservation fee?
Right.
Have you and Val talked about that?
I don't know where it is. Well, in her report is when I guess I was going to
Oh,
ask her,
okay.
we're going to approve that booking? For the changes to the booking procedure?
Changes to the booking procedures.
That we got, that were going to be made last month.
The booking policy, where,
Yeah.
what changes are you proposing?
Well, we read through those and don't need to make a final approval of the changes that were made.
I thought that was approved at the last meeting, and
I thought it was, I'm not
Okay.
sure what it is.
Yeah, I thought it,
Yeah,
I
it
also
was
thought it
approved. That was
was.
approved,
Yeah.
I thought, last meeting.
Okay, then I'll answer the question now. Through the foundation board, they came up wondering that with, as you can probably explain much better than me, there's a preservation fee on every ticket that is sold, of $3.50. And so through that group, it came out wondering if there would be possibility to increase that fee so we get some really nice stream of revenue in this outside people. I think that sounds really great. So wondered, I know Bob did bring this to you, and you researched it a little bit, and wanted to have you just share with us a little bit what you found out and you're thinking about it.
Sure. Pardon me. Doing some research, I think that in touching base with VenueWorks, they felt that $350 was pushing the stratosphere of what people wanted to pay. In a venue that shall remain nameless that I came from, I believe that they're at like $1 for a fee. So $350 from the dollar is quite substantial. And then when you start adding on to that, you know, Ticketmaster fees, and I can speak for myself, when I bought the red and white ticket prior to my official employment here, you know, I'm online clicking, and I bought the cheapest ticket, and before I know it, you know, you're quite a bit into it. So I think that we have to be very, very careful that we're not kind of spiting our nose to fit our face by trying to increase ever so little, but that little bit on top of all the other fees seems substantial at the end of the day. But again, it was kind of looked at over a broad spectrum, and that seems to be the upper end of what those fees are. John, do you find that to be at your other historic venues also?
Yeah, I don't think we have a fee over $350 at many of our other theaters. There are some at $3 and $350, but I don't think we have anything over $350. Now, I do know that in some major arenas and some older historic arenas, they are kissing the $4 and $5 mark. But that is a very targeted situation where they dedicate that and they go very public with a full-blown fundraising campaign, and that's part of the campaign to raise $1 million for preservation or something specific. And they go out and really sell that. I suppose in a real sense that could be done too, but I think we probably need a little bit more,
It's a little early, I think, for
research
us.
on that.
Maybe we need to get a better foothold on moving forward and then revisit it as things take off.
Yeah.
It's worth active discussion, I would say.
Anything else, Jim? Speak up.
In New Orleans North, that the Rialto is participating in, I think it's important to know that the chamber are selling tickets, but they're gonna shut down Chicago Street. So you can get those tickets at the chamber office for $7, $10 the night of the
Give me
event.
some tickets.
Or you can contact me directly.
Yeah.
I have about 30 of them.
So they're $7, and they're also a entry for a trip to New Orleans, sponsored by Harris Casino. So they want you to come down and think, well, I'm going to the Rialto, and they're gonna ask you to pay.
Okay, anything else related to the foundation, Jackie, anything, or?
That's it.
Okay, are you done with your report?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Val, ED report?
All right, since our last meeting, we have had Celtic Woman, Leanne Rhymes, and our first Music Monday. We have also in the rental category had 2 wedding receptions, 1 dance competition, a dance recital, the Illinois Principals Association breakfast, and Will County Go Green. Also in that time, the rescheduling of Olivia Newton-John and our new show, Gordon Lightfoot, on July 30th. Upcoming, we are going to be participating in Star Wars Days. It's my understanding it's the first time that the Rialto has been able to participate in this epic event that I also hear is the 2nd largest Star Wars event in the country. Weather being good, I think the library is expecting around 8, 9, 10,000 people. I think are doing Jedi training on the stage, so if you want to come and get your Jedi on, come on over to the theater. New Orleans North, as they mentioned, and we are also participating in the Route 66 street market with tours, and we have also partnered with the Red Cross and are going to be doing a blood drive during one of those street market nights. On a side note, Lucy, my dog, and I will be participating in the VIP Pet Look-alike Contest for Paws on Route 66, which is the day after New Orleans North. We are 35 shows to our 30 by June 30th, so yay. And weddings are at 85% compared to one of our best past years. Currently, we have about a dozen offers out and are pending confirmations. We installed a point-of-sale system that allows us to accept credit cards at the bar as a form of payment for food and beverage. In addition, it will be helping us with inventory control. We have issued an emergency procedure flip chart to all employees, which is sadly particularly timely in light of the recent events in Manchester. In addition, we have scheduled a crowd control management that John will be doing on Thursday for key front-of-house staff. Pending, we are implementing the Rialto Safety Committee, and we will be participating in the Venue Safe program that sends us safety alerts to all the facilities that are managed by VenueWorks, and again, both coordinated by our home office. We are continuing to work on the website. We had a meeting today with Ticketmaster because of our relationship with Ticketmaster, and they did a lot of research on our website and told us how many hits we're getting and where people are clicking through, and when you Google us, where you come up on things. So it is kind of an informational process as we start to redo our website and what we want to look like. I think we need to become a little more active. I think it was on Instagram and Twitter.
What's the time frame on the website?
Well,
Or is there one?
Yes and no. I mean, yesterday would be our time frame if you were to ask any one of us. But it really got to the point where it needs so much work that we're really trying to go at it in a systematic way. And this teleconference that we did today with Ticketmaster, they're going to send us their findings, and then we'll get back into looking at each of the links and how we want it to look and what we need it to be moving forward. So we are working on it actively to get it up to speed.
And are we working with VenueWorks IT person or group?
Yes, we are, absolutely.
And sponsorship and development are working on program sponsorships, major gifts, stewardship and solicitations, increased star treatment at the Rialto participation, establishing an estate giving program, grants, special events like Pleasant Ovation, and many other projects. So that's kind of the monthly review.
I don't know if you said this or not.
Sorry?
I don't know if you mentioned this or not when you were talking about the website, but will you then be getting data of numbers, then the hits you get and how far they're going into the website? Will that be part of what you'd be able to look at from month to month?
Yeah, in this meeting that we had with Ticketmaster, of course, they were speaking a language that I'm not necessarily familiar with, but it is amazing how you can set up your website to track when a person clicks on something, where they go and where it takes them, and what then gets sent to them via those clicks. And we have a lot of participation to do on our end to make all of those clicks come to be paying back to us. But it was very educational, and we have the opportunity to work with Ticketmaster as we are one of their venues, to take their expertise and of course to buy their website program. So we are working in that direction, and like I said, I learned a lot today about all the things that can happen with a website and what you do. And again, we have a lot of work to do, first and foremost, making it so that when you bring it up on your phone, you're not pinching and expanding and trying to get it to fit your phone, because right now we're really just set up to be viewed on a laptop or a large computer screen. So it is a priority for us.
Okay, so do I understand you then, Val, that you would have to buy this opportunity then to?
We could buy into Ticketmaster if we wanted to have them be our website designers. Ultimately, as we are looking to hire a marketing person, we are hoping to be able to, once we get the website up and running, to be able to do a lot of that switching out in-house. But it's getting to that point, and again, because we're so far behind in a lot of that, and we're trying to keep current things up that are happening and get rid of old things, which is just kind of maintaining at this point before we really delve in and start to make major changes to the website.
Any other questions for Beth?
No, I just didn't, so as the vendor that we signed to develop the content management system for the website, have they given any time frame for when that can be completed?
Well, no, because we need to give him stuff before he can do what needs to be done. You know, he came in and sat down with us and went through all of the things that you can do with the website, but we, as the experts on theater.
So it's created, it's ready, it just needs content, which
Well,
we need.
yes and no. We're looking at the website to see what we have that works and what's right, and what doesn't work and what isn't right, and look at neighbors and what's working, and we did get a little bit of that from Ticketmaster about, you know, what you want your website to do, that you don't want to have people click 5 times to buy a ticket. You want to click twice, and there you are to buy the ticket. So we were gathering a little bit of information as we're looking at our website to discern what we need to do to make it the most efficient and user-friendly it can be.
But there has to be a reasonable time frame. I mean, are we 60 days, 30 days, 90 days?
I mean, I would hope that we could get something that is what we want it to be in 60 days, and then it's a matter of tweaking. But there's a lot of information on that website that is just old and needs to be reviewed, and, you know, there's historic information and all kinds of stuff that we don't want to throw out, and we want to make sure that it's correct. So yes, this was a little bit of a delay in our process because it was valuable information to put the brakes on before we have someone do something that we're like, oh, you know, we changed our mind about that, we don't want to do that anymore. So we're trying to make very well thought out decisions as we move forward so that we're not undoing what we did because we did it without thinking about it.
Giving quality information.
Yes.
Or accurate even,
Accurate.
yeah.
Okay, anything more for that? Under my report, I want to piggyback a little bit on Jeff's comments in the respect that last Tuesday evening, early evening, Gal and I presented to the City Council the status and update, if you will. And in both of our remarks, we reminded the council that we've been here a short time. The board was seated late January. Val was brought on April 3rd, was her first day. And it seems like the last 2 weeks, at least for me, has been filled with a lot of Rialto issues. And I know Jeff's been working with me. I know Val has been dealing with a lot of crises, let's say. And a lot of that is in the real estate area, and that's resulted in meetings with certain tenants, which at this point has a good outcome associated with it. But we're hoping to go forward and move a little bit of that responsibility off of Val on a day-to-day basis. I thank those of you who showed up in support of us at the City Council meeting. I know you may have gotten a late notice or you didn't see it in your emails, but I know some of you attended. I kind of took the broader picture, and Val gave a lot of details, much of which, well, it was all in your report, minutes. Her speech was, mine was not. I thought it was well received by the council. We had absolutely no questions, which somewhat surprised me. And the really surprising thing was that the mayor commented about this dedicated funding source. And you know, he mentioned it to me about 4 weeks ago now, and asked me to keep it quiet, and I did. I'm hoping that by the fact that he announced it publicly last Tuesday night, that tonight he will come forth with some details. I don't have any details. I don't know if anyone has any details, but he seems to be confident that this is going to go forward in terms of some type of dedicated line item funding for the Rialto. That would be wonderful news, obviously. you know, other than that comment, he commented on the professionalism of this board and the open communication that we've had with the city council. I think that was about it. Pat, you were there, you were up on the stage.
The presentation was greatly appreciated by council members. Yeah. Lots of them had very good comments. Thank the two of you for coming
And certainly, I mean, personally, I intend to do this every so often. You get sick of seeing me every other week, so I won't do that, but,
Thank you.
you know, every 6 to 9 months, or if something exciting's happening that we want to kind of take public, we're gonna try and get on the agenda. So,
No problem.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
City real estate, I think that's it for me. Public comments, anyone? Trish, I didn't see you hiding in the back there.
I'm not hiding. I'm standing.
Okay, I don't believe that we have a need for an executive session now unless someone else has a need for one. I obviously misunderstood David as I was
Yeah,
speaking to
I
him from
apologize
Germany.
if we had a,
In all fairness to David, I caught him, I called him mid-afternoon and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to sleep. I said, what? He said, I'm in Germany. And I said, oh, okay. So maybe I misunderstood him.
yeah, I'm sorry, your was cutting out a little bit, so I apologize.
He was speaking German too.
It might have
He's
been-
talented, but not that talented. So, no need for executive session. Any other comments or questions before we adjourn? Anyone? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.